Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys checking out today's video and making some time for it. And guys, today we're going to be talking about the differences between a regular sized jerkbait and a finesse jerkbait in terms of catching fish in the wintertime with it, because there's a big difference in the profile of these baits, and I'm going to give you guys some tips and advice on when to choose which size based upon the conditions you're fishing. And also guys, before we get started here, since it is cold out this morning, 19 degrees here on the first day of November and here in Missouri, I'd like to invite you to check out our Fish the Moment winter lake map breakdowns. We got the fall and the winter up on the site right now. This is going to give you guys some good locations for your wintertime jerkbait fishing coming up over the next few months, and I'll put the Fish the Moment link in the description of this video if you want to check that out. Okay guys, first of all, I want to show you two of my favorite wintertime jerkbaits. Regular size jerkbait. This is the Megabass 110 plus 2, the deep diving model. And this is the X Nanohan plus 1 here. And you can see the difference in here. This is a regular size jerkbait, a little over 4 inches long, 4.5 inches long. The standard, go-to that everybody uses, the Megabass 110 model. And then the newer X Nanohan, which is the tinier finesse model here. Now, there are a time and place for both of these based upon the situation, the conditions, the type of lake that you're fishing in the wintertime, really from about now until March, and I want to sort of discuss both of those. First of all, let's talk about the regular size, when the regular size, is pretty good to use on there. There's a couple different considerations to think about here. First of all, for me, when I'm thinking in terms of using a larger size, not larger, but a normal size jerkbait in the wintertime, it's all about water clarity to me. For me personally, when that water temperature starts to fall into November, December, and January, I find that in the clearer water situations, if you're dealing with water visibilities of like over 4 feet, the bigger size or the normal size doesn't quite get as many bites as the smaller size. But if you have the right window, as far as the right conditional window, the bigger size can definitely outproduce the finesse size. Now, what is that window? The window, first of all, is a lake that has a predominant largemouth population. So say, for example, if you're fishing Lake Lanier in Georgia, which is a predominant spotted bass population, not quite as good as if you're fishing, a lake, one of the TVA lakes that has a predominant largemouth population. You're going to find out the largemouth will prefer a little bit larger bait, spotted bass smallmouth, maybe a little bit smaller bait in the wintertime. And there's also a water visibility window. For me in the wintertime, when the water temperatures are in the 40s and 50s, about the minimum depth that I ever catch any jerkbait fish on is about 2 foot clarity. 2 foot is about the minimum. And then if anything that you get over 4 feet, jerkbait fishing tends to be a little bit better. But when you have water clarity in that window between say 2 to 3.5 feet, which is very common in a lot of lakes across the country, and you have a predominant largemouth population, the normal size jerkbait will tend to be a little bit better than the finesse model. Now, this is also true if you combine that with a certain set of weather conditions. So let's go back. If you got water visibility between 2 to 3.5 feet, you got a predominant largemouth heavy population. Not to say you can't have smallmouth and spotted bass, but the percentage of the bass in the lake are predominantly largemouth. And you have some type of a stable weather condition or something with a falling barometric pressure. So in other words, if you've got a southerly airflow where the temperatures are normal or a little bit above normal, if you've got wind speeds that are not calm, if you got wind speeds that are moderate to a little bit heavier, say 10 to 15 mile an hour winds, and you have some level of clouds, whether it be a heavy partly cloudy or cloudy condition, this is when the bigger normal size jerkbait is going to outproduce the finesse model in the wintertime. So in other words, when you go fishing, if you guys are going to go fishing, let's say on Sam Rayburn Lake, and it's January, water temperatures are in the 50s, water visibility is 2.5 foot clarity, you've got a south wind, 15 miles an hour, heavy partly cloudy skies to cloudy, you're going to catch a lot more fish on the normal size. Now, the finesse jerkbait, which is my favorite, this X-Nan, guys, by the way, this X Nanohan plus 1, it is a fish catching little jerkbait. I'll put the Tackle Warehouse link in the description if you guys want to pick up one. But I have caught a freaking ton of fish on this thing over the past 18 months or so when that water gets cold. I prefer a Finesse jerkbait in the wintertime because I live here in the Ozarks, fish a lot of clear water. So the Finesse jerkbait is going to outproduce under these conditions. If you have water visibility, say over 3.5 feet, and you got a good mix in the lake you fish, a mix of spotted bass, smallmouth, largemouth, or a spotted bass heavy lake, the Finesse jerkbait is going to catch you just as big a fish and way more fish than a normal size jerkbait. This is also really good under tougher conditions. If you get those days out there in the wintertime where it's cold, maybe the wind's not blowing much, or even maybe the wind's blowing a little bit, and you've got like a sunny conditions, tough fishing conditions in general, guys, you can't even compete with the little jerkbait is going to outproduce a regular one, 10 to 1. I'll give you guys a scenario. Let's say, today, it's like right now here in Missouri, it's 19 degrees this morning. There's not a cloud in the sky. The wind's blowing about 10 miles an hour. Post-frontal, tough fishing conditions. If you went fishing with me on Table Rock today, and let's say, I had the Vision 110, the regular size, and you were throwing the little Finesse model. If I caught 5 fish on the regular size 110, you're gonna catch 15 or 20 on the Finesse jerkbait. That is the difference. This is one of the things, if I could stress anything in this video to you guys right here, is don't think that just because you're using a small jerkbait, you're gonna catch smaller fish, because you're not. You're gonna get so many more bites under most wintertime conditions with the Finesse jerkbait than you will a regular size one. And again, my favorite are the X Nanahans like this. Here's one that's got a little bit deeper lip on it. This is the +2. And I also like this Megabass X80, which is another Finesse model here. I know you guys, any of you guys out there that have been on the water jerkbait lesson with me in the winter, you know what I fish. You guys have seen me. This is what I got tied on. And also, one more thing before we wrap the video up. When you're choosing between the bigger jerkbait and the smaller jerkbait in the wintertime, line size is really critical. I think personally most people fish their jerkbaits on way too heavy a line. On the regular size jerkbait in the wintertime, I never go over 8-pound test. And on the Finesse jerkbait, I use 4 to 6 pound test, Seaguar and VizX all winter long. Never go over 6, usually 4 to 6 on it. So thing about the light line, and we covered this on, I did a video, an hour-long jerkbait video yesterday on my advanced bass fishing YouTube channel about this. But when you're in the wintertime, light line is critical because you can make a longer cast with it, you can get your bait deeper, and it gives the bait more lifelike action. So I think one of the biggest mistakes the average to somebody that's learning about jerkbaits makes is they make too heavy a line. They use too heavy a line. There's really no reason to use anything over 8-pound test line, in my opinion, from like November to March when you're fishing. So anyway, guys, a few tips on there. Like I said, there's time and place for both of them. Don't get locked in thinking you gotta use one or the other. It just depends on the lake you're fishing. Like I said, if you guys are fishing Lake Lanier, you're gonna catch a lot more like on this little X Nanahan. If you guys are fishing Lake Seminole in Georgia or Grand Lake in Oklahoma, you're going to catch more on the 110 size with it out there. So just like anything else, lures are tools, and you got to have the right lure at the right place to catch them. So anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see y'all